Hi, welcome to Dwayne's Guitar Lessons with another video on tips and training on helping you to improve your guitar playing. Now today's video lesson we're going to talk about changing your strings. One of the questions I get asked a lot by some of my students is when's the best time to change your strings? Well, I think that kind of depends on a few different things, alright? So I would say break it down into 4 things, okay? Number 1, how often you play. Number 2, how you take care of your strings, like if you wipe them down and stuff. Number 3, how you like your sound, if you like a bright sound or kind of a dullish sound. Everybody's a little bit different. And number 4, your budget, okay? So let's take a look at each one of those things and take a look at that. Okay, so first thing we want to look about is how often do you play? Well, that depends. You know, if you play a lot, like for instance every day you play for say 2 hours a day, you know, your strings are going to get kind of cruddy a little bit, your sound's going to dull a little bit quicker. So I would recommend maybe changing out your strings maybe 2 to 3 weeks, every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe once a month, something like that. That's kind of my general rule, is I usually change out my strings about once a month because I play every day, okay? Now if you just play for, you know, maybe 30 minutes a day, you know, here and there, then maybe you need to change them out only 6 weeks, every 4 to 6 weeks, maybe a couple weeks later, okay? Because you're not putting as much emphasis on the strings, you're not playing as much. Maybe you're busy, you're working, you got family, you got stuff to do, don't have as much time to practice. So your strings aren't going to get as much use out of them, which is fine, and your sound's not going to dull as quickly. Now, if you practice maybe 30 minutes a day, maybe 3 to 5 days a week, you know, because once again you're busy and stuff, then you could probably wait 6 to 8 weeks to change them out. That would be my kind of rule of thumb on that, okay? Now, how you take care of your strings makes a difference too. Now, some people, when they get done playing their guitar, they wipe down the strings with a towel, you know, and they put the guitar in the case and take really good care of it. And if that's what you do, then, you know, you probably don't need to change your strings for probably a couple months, you know, depending on, once again, how often you play and stuff like that, all right? So that's kind of personal preference. Okay, now me, I like to just play my guitars. I play my guitars and I put them down, maybe grab another one, I put them down. You know, I don't really wipe them down and put them in the cases and stuff. I find that if I do that, then it's, you know, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. I like to have a guitar by me somewhere so that I can play it, okay? So that's what I would recommend. Just have your guitar by you somewhere so you can play it. And another thing to think about too is the more you play it, your sound is going to dull a little bit, and like what we talked about, depending on what you like, if you like bright sound, dull sound, doesn't really matter. It's kind of personal preference, okay? But I do know that, and you know too, when you put new strings on your guitar, you get a nice bright sound, and after a while it gets kind of dull. So that's kind of personal preference there. But like I said, if you practice a lot, you know, if you practice every day, a couple hours a day, maybe put them out, you know, once a month. That's kind of general for me anyway. If you live in a very humid area, you know, you might need to change them out maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, because the humidity is going to cause a little bit of corrosion on your strings. And you can tell your strings, if they kind of seem a little cruddy, is by just taking your hand and running it along the string like this, okay? And if it feels kind of corroded, you know, corroded and stuff like that, then I would change them out. If it feels smooth, then I wouldn't really worry about it too much, okay? So that's something you want to think about. And then, of course, the 4th thing you want to think about is your budget, okay? Guitar strings aren't cheap. They're not like 50 cents a pack. They're usually a few bucks. So depending on what your budget is also going to determine how often you change your strings as well, okay? So if you have a pretty good budget, you can change them a lot. If you have a lot of guitars, you know, you play 3 or 4 guitars, you know, like me, you might want to consider that as well, because if you're trying to maintain 4 or 5 guitars, you know, a guitar string packs at about $3 to $4 a pack, you know, and you're changing them once a month, that's a fairly good budget that you got to deal with as well, okay? So take those things into consideration. Take care of your strings. Watch for my next video, because we're going to talk about what kind of strings to use. I'll tell you about some kind of strings I use that work really well for me, pretty popular for a lot of people, and be watching for that in the next video, okay? Alright, so there you have it. Some tips on when to change your guitar strings. And like I said before, it's all personal preference, how much you play, how well you take care of your guitar, what your budget is, things like that. And take those things into consideration, and I guarantee that'll really help out your playing, okay? So, like I said, watch for my next video that's going to talk about what kind of strings to use, what kind of strings I use. And we'll get you going there as well. Alright, so until that next lesson, you take care.